But thousands still without power, the army yet to arrive. The impact of the surprise deluge on our dam levels and our beaches in peak holiday season. A plane inferno on a Tokyo tarmac, 5 killed but hundreds escape, including 12 Australians. Beach hoons busted in a major police blitz. 10 years in the making, the CSIRO-backed diet helping shed the kilos. At a sea of pink for an enthralling day at the SCG as the baggy green mystery deepens.
Live from Brisbane, 7 News with Samantha Heathwood.
Good evening. The clean-up is finally beginning in southeast suburbs devastated by double weather disasters. A break in the rain has allowed crews to move in to restore power to thousands of homes. But we're warned the recovery could take months.
Help arriving in the hinterland, a convoy of Energex crews to provide much-needed relief. As the community hammered by wild weather finally begins to rebuild.
I'm advised that the worst of the weather is behind us. Residents in the southeast can expect only small, isolated showers for the next few days.
Now the mammoth clean-up after a crippling 1-2 weather punch that obliterated homes like this one in Maudsley. Its tin roof lifted off like a tin can.
A lot of plaster falling through and structures now starting to become more and more kind of uncertain as to whether it's actually structurally sound.
Just down the road in Guanaba,
this has been the worst week and a half I've ever seen in my life.
Will Finstra's farm was ravaged by the Christmas tornado and then raging floodwater, with stock of fresh vegetables dumped.
Can't explain where to start, what to fix up first, what to clean up first. We really do need some help. There's some houses here, Creedman Road, and a lot of these streets, they need a lot of help.
And it's coming. Clear skies, a welcome reprieve for the 8,000 properties powerless since Christmas Day.
60 crews, probably around 40 to 50 different trucks. As you can look around, we've really stepped it up today. We've got a really good weather window.
Power will be up and running across the Gold Coast and Scenic Rim by this weekend.
The plan for that part of the world is to create its own network and run it off a large generator so that people don't have to have their own gen sets anymore.
Locals are helping locals.
So we've been able to purchase at least 20 generators that we've given out on loan, or we've been able to sell them to people who have been able to afford them to make sure that everybody has power, but we've done that as a needs basis.
It meant lights on for Robin Taylor for the first time in 10 days.
Magic. Fantastic.
I've got to get water to put in the toilet so I can flush it. No showers, like we've been having quick baths. I went to my daughter's mother-in-law yesterday and had a hot shower.
But hard-hit communities are warned the road to recovery will be a long one.
It's good to see some action happening. Since Christmas Day, we've really seen not a lot.
The SES has received more than 5,000 calls for help in the southeast since Christmas, 425 of them from the Scenic Rim. Suburbs mopping up after scenes like this. New video showing a bus driving through flooding in Logan yesterday, water creeping inside. The delay in power returning and debris finally being cleared has frustrated many.
When things do happen, it takes so long for them to get everything right again.
Have we missed out?
The toll of back-to-back bouts of wild weather is testing businesses too. The famous Curtis Falls Cafe flooded again, now bound for demolition.
It's not achievable. I mean, like, look at the cost of getting someone in to come and clean it all. All the motors this time, everything's just gone in the fridges. Every electrical item in here is just gone.
The aftermath of the storms here is still evident. Every road here in Mount Tamborine is littered with branches and debris, and it's going to take an army to clear it.
The ADF will start to arrive shortly, along with specialist skills from Disaster Relief Australia.
Help that can't come soon enough. And help is on the way. 50 Defence Force personnel will arrive here in Mount Tamborine tomorrow to assist with what is going to be a mammoth cleanup. And let me tell you, it will be a mammoth cleanup. Just here on the side of the road, a broken wall has been completely obliterated by that mini tornado on Christmas Day. In some good news, though, we do have sunny skies here today because the last thing that this community needs here, Sam, is any more wild weather.
Rachel Baxter at Tamborine Mountain, thank you. Well, the Army will hit the ground here tomorrow to begin the mammoth effort, but let's go right now to Marlena Wapp. Marlena, the Premier is under fire for going on holidays during the southeast's weather emergency.
Sam, Stephen Miles went to the Sunshine Coast on Monday. He had a 3-day holiday planned with his family at a caravan park, but the opposition says his leave should have been cancelled altogether. While flooding was hitting the Gold Coast on New Year's Day, the Premier's office says he was phoning into emergency briefings and talking to the Commonwealth about securing support from the ADF. Then yesterday, Stephen Miles made the dash to the Gold Coast for a local disaster management meeting and joined the Mayor for a media conference and a look at the flood zones. The Deputy Opposition Leader, Jared Blay, has slammed the Premier for taking today off, although the Police Minister seemed to be under the impression he was working.
He should not be on holidays when so many Queenslanders are going without at the moment. So many Queenslanders don't have power back on.
Oh, well, he's back from leave.
He was off today. He's due back from leave tomorrow. A spokesperson for the Premier says he has complete confidence in Cameron Dick, who's been the acting Premier.
Marlena Wapp at State Parliament, thank you. Well, the aftermath of relentless rain has been a dampener for Gold Coast holidaymakers, with some of the most popular beaches still closed. Dams are brimming, with the falls enough to supply the southeast with water for almost half a year.
A healthy Hinds Dam almost full to the brim. Southeast waterways swollen, bolstering supply.
The dams across the region are about 69%.
Blue skies this morning, relief for SEQ Water standing down its floods operations team.
We're currently making small but controlled releases from Somerset Dam into Wivenhoe Dam. There's no prospect of us needing to make any gated releases from Wivenhoe Dam.
North Pine Dam was being closely monitored.
It's in good shape. And the dam operators here have been monitoring the weather situation.
Based on the current forecast, we're not concerned at all. We don't foresee the need for any releases based on the current forecast.
7 dams in the southeast are spilling, including Cedar Pocket at almost 110% capacity. Leslie Harrison isn't far behind at 108. Hinds Dam is almost full, with the catchment receiving 400 millimetres of rain in 7 days.
And there is water going over those spillways, which is entirely consistent with their design and their operation, and we've informed those downstream communities that that's occurring.
The southeast water grid supply has increased by more than 4% in the past week, with the torrential downpour equal to almost 6 months' worth of supply.
It gets us close to the next summer, which obviously is another opportunity for further inflows.
But for beachgoers wanting to make the most of this summer, the influx isn't welcome news.
All those beaches south of Burleigh, Tallabudgera will remain closed.
This morning, a usually full glitter strip was bare.
There is a fair bit of debris and the water quality hasn't been great. I mean, it's very dirty, but it will clear up.
You didn't go all the way in?
No, just sort of a little bit and that's about it.
For some at Surfers Paradise, it wasn't a worry.
Nah, not really. Right. That looks swimmable out there.
With the southerly influence we're getting, the swell with a high tide, it's flushing out quite quickly.
Southern beaches reopen this afternoon, with the northern end expected to open tomorrow.
We've got pretty much 2 days left here, so if we can have that luck, it'll be good for us.
Returning the Gold Coast to its usual glory. Anna McGraw, 7 News.
Let's bring in Sam Payne now on the Gold Coast. Sam, theme parks have finally reopened after being forced to close.
Sam, the sunny weather has brought tourists out to all 5 attractions. There were long lines. Some visitors queued up at Dreamworld and Wet n Wild for almost an hour before the gates opened. The Christmas Day tornado and the New Year's Day flooding caused damage and power outages, igniting a big clean-up effort. It's still unclear how much the weather events have cost the parks in revenue, but they'll now be trying to recoup their losses of the remainder of the summer holidays.
It's been a tough time the last week or so. Look, for our guests not being able to come, for our team, for the community, but we're just really happy to be open again.
Smaller tourism operators like the GC Wake Park has suffered damages in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. It will reopen this weekend, but in a limited capacity as it rebuilds like many other businesses.
Sam Payne at Main Beach, thank you. Well, now to Tony Auden, and more storms are possible later this week.
Yes, Sam, we only get a couple of quieter days before those skies come to life again on Friday. Thunderstorms should take off in the afternoon. It doesn't look as nasty as many of those recent thunderstorm days, not quite as much instability. And the steering winds in the upper atmosphere, as shown by the arrows here, are running south to north, and they're not likely to bring those bigger storms onto the coast. Having said that, we will still need to watch for the odd severe cell inland, especially after lunchtime. But for today, those skies have cleared up and we've also warmed up. Brisbane reached a top of 31 degrees. Sam, I'll be back soon with the forecast.
Thank you, Tony. Well, a dozen Australians have survived a catastrophic plane collision in Tokyo after their commercial jet crashed into another aircraft.